What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with the Sultan of Sando, Mr. Gab Lim, and Maui Yap wearing the Boleros blue shirt and the pink
Ah,
Boleros cap, syempre.
sorry to
Polo
Zayn
merch.
Mahmood. Sorry to Zayn Mahmood. You don't deserve one episode for yourself. Pero we have to do another topic.
Hindi ba
Hindi ko
dati meron tayo episode just for him?
I think
Now he
so.
doesn't deserve
Baka.
one whole episode. I'm sorry, Zayn.
Baka.
Sorry.
Uh, to that point, wala tayong UAAP news masyado to cover. So, we'll talk about Zayn Mahmood going to FEU, joining the Tamaraws on another day. For today, we are going to do a special episode. Our UAAP Season 76 to Season 87 Finals tier list. So, Gab, paki-explain nga kung ano gagawin natin today.
All right. So, first of all, shout out to the No Dunks podcast, to Skeets, Trey Kirby, and Tasmelas. We were inspired by them. I think they did a ranking of the last 25 NBA Finals. Hindi na natin gagawin yun. Siguro some other time.
Madugo yun.
Madugo yun. Mahaba yun. So, some other time siguro yung gagawin namin yung... Although kaya. Technically, guys, kaya. I mean, kaya siya. Pero not today. Okay. Today, we're gonna do our ranking of the last 11 UAAP Finals. Why the last 11? Because it's been 11 years since Ateneo's last championship of the 5-peat. We didn't want to go into the 5-peat era. I think that's a whole podcast to itself. Kasi maraming pa rin pag-usapan sila sa 5 finals na yon. So we're gonna leave that alone. Instead, we're gonna do season 76 until season 87. So, well, yung that's 11, no? Yes, that's 12 pala dapat. But, remember, walang season 83. That season was canceled. So, we're gonna have 11 final series. We're gonna talk about the series, not the winners, not the champions. We're gonna talk about the games, the atmosphere there in the finals, and we're gonna rank them according to tiers. We're gonna use the shout out to tier maker. We're gonna use S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, whatever interpretation you want to have of what constitutes an S tier, what constitutes an A tier. Very open discussion. We're gonna talk about what we remember from those finals because, to be honest, since ABS-CBN Sports no longer exists, it's kind of hard to rewatch every single game from every single finals. But there are still highlights, there are still clips, there's still some games uploaded on YouTube, so check those out. But we are gonna discuss them chronologically. We're gonna discuss whether we think it's S, A, or B, or C. At least two have to be in agreement. So you have to convince us, Maui, Sami, kung hindi nag-agree yung dalawang tao, baka kailangan mo kaming i-convince. Okay? So, any questions, boys, before we start?
Sounds good.
All
Let's
right.
go.
And if you want to participate, please do in the comment section.
Oh, comment down.
We'll be posting the link to the tier maker if you want to
Pwede.
participate and make your own tiers. If you want to rewatch the games, you rewatch the highlights, declog that memory a bit and what you remember from those final series. But let's go first to season 76. The DLSU Green Archers, LaSalle, winning their first championship since 2007, defeating the UST Growling Tigers in 3 games. I think Jeron Teng was the finals MVP. This was the first time a 4th seed made it to the finals. If you guys remember, UST was the 4th seed. They were not supposed to be the 4th seed. I think Jeric Teng injury in the elimination round. Medyo yung nag-drop yung standings nila. I think he injured his shoulder and then came back as the Final Four was starting. But I'm gonna start this off. I have this as an S tier. All
Starting
3
with a
games.
bang.
Yeah, and I think it's good that we start with an S tier because I think ito yung ating standard for what constitutes an S tier.
Benchmark.
Because Yeah, the benchmark of an S tier final series, because this series had it all. It had drama, it had the history. LaSalle USD faced each other multiple times in the 90s. For those old heads who were able to watch the 90s basketball, we were not we were not conscious even back then. Hindi mo conscious, pero hindi mo yung wala kaming uh, recollection, di ba? Hindi kami yung penimaro ng basketball in the 90s. But yeah, this had the drama. It was the Teng brothers, the Battle of the Brothers, Jerick Teng versus Jeron Teng. It was the birth of the King Archer, Aljon Mariano. And if you look back to Game 3, he really deserved the title of the King Archer because grabe yung ginawa ni Aljon ng Game 3. I cannot believe what this guy did in Game 3. But ang dami. All three games went down to the wire. I think game 1 was decided on a Kareem Abdul block on LA Revilla. Game 3 was decided in overtime. Big shot after big shot. The infamous play at the end of regulation by Aljon Mariano not passing to a wide open Jerick Teng, who the play was called for, whom the play was called for, and Coach Pido on the sidelines going crazy because Aljon Mariano did not pass it to Jeron Teng. There was so much drama. I do remember this series. I did watch it before, and I was able to rewatch this series, and I concur. This was one of the craziest finals we have ever watched in the UAAP. Your opinion, Maui, Sam?
Let me start. I know maraming masasabi si Maui dito. I do want to say, because you picked S tier, I actually have to disagree. I just put this as my A tier. A tier. This could have been an S tier. I do. You know what? I understand bakit mo pinili at ginawa tong S tier, because everything was there. Tama ka, 'di ba? Everything was amazing. The rivalry, the battle of the tanks, two really stacked lineups. I think LaSalle was also a top 2 seed nung time na to. I think UST was the underdog. Were
Yep.
they a top 2 seed actually?
NU was number one.
NU
Lasal
was number
number 2.
one. So they beat NU twice to make it to the finals. That was also interesting. I think this was the first year of
Umiyak pa si
Juno.
Coach Pido sa podium. He cried.
He cried. And I think this is also the first year of Coach Juno Soler. So if I remember correctly, parang they were saying na, first year niya to coach and napa-champion niya, kinda similar to what Coach Pido did for UST in the past. So merong ganung angle pa. Everything was perfect. But this is the reason why I did not put it under S tier. If you rewatch this again, knowing what people have said about this for the past 10, 11 years, Aljon Mariano just ruined this experience for me. Just ruined this experience for me. Kasi nakaka-frustrate eh. It's so frustrating watching this game knowing what Aljon Mariano is, like, not knowing what Aljon Mariano is thinking or doing. He just ruined this game. Nakakainis, nakaka-frustrate yung he tried to take over, 'di ba? Tinira niya yung tres na yon, knowing na he was bad not just in the final game but all throughout the season. Yung
Series
think-
naman. Series
all
naman,
throughout
Sam.
the
Hindi naman
series,
season.
all throughout the series, sorry. I think it was I think nung overtime na ba yun or nung fourth quarter pa ba yun, where Teng missed the free throw, Aljon Mariano got the rebound and just threw the ball away, just decided to
That was
jump and
overtime.
throw the ball away. Overtime na yun, di ba?
Yeah.
Oh my God, this was
Which
so
led
frustrating
to
for
the
me.
game-winning shot of Almon Vosotros.
Vosotros. Correct. This was just so frustrating to me. I just cannot put it in S tier kasi it was a bad experience. Rewatching it. Maybe nung time na yon S tier. Now that I'm rewatching it, I just hate Aljon Mariano more. But shouts to him. He's still with Ginebra. He's had a very successful PBA career. So, long tenured PBA career. So, okay. Congrats. Congrats to you, Aljon.
And to add to that, he had not made a field goal the entire game. I think it was 0 of 8 And he decided to clear out Jeric Teng and go
Clear out.
one-on-one.
Nag-sag off na nga. Sino ba bantay ni Teng nun? Si Jaron Teng, I think,
Oh,
yung
yeah,
bantay niya.
yeah.
Nag-sag off na siya. He was wide open. He could have just passed it there. Ewan ko, nakaka-frustrate, nakakainis. To be fair to Aljon Mariano, I think he hit like 2 crucial free throws nung mga last
He did.
1
He
minute
did.
nung fourth quarter. So,
To
okay,
tie the game, I
fine.
think he hit 2 free throws. But still,
Fine.
to clear out the guy who was shooting 50% from the field and scored 20 plus points already the entire game was bone shit crazy talaga from Aljon Mariano. Maui, go ahead.
Ba gusto niya to etch himself into UAAP history in the wrong way. Nakita niya yung,
Which
I
is what
think
happened.
nakita niya yung shot ni Buenafe, di ba? Buenafe was shooting 7% from 3 when he made that crucial 3-pointer against FEU in the finals. But yeah, I would have to agree with Gav. I think this series deserves an S tier. I also agree with Sammy na nakakasira yung experience that Aljon Mariano brought, especially to UST fans who up to this day continue to use the Aljon Mariano meme of throwing a game. But I would think that this finals had everything in it. Diba? The drama, Teng versus Teng, UST versus LaSalle, a long storied rivalry in the UAAP. All 3 games decided in a very small margin. Game 3 going to overtime with Almond Vosotros hitting the game-winning shot. It's a UAAP classic. Maybe si Aljon Mariano in 25 years baka makalimutan na that he was
Hindi siya makakalimutan, Maui. As long as Bob yung buhay pa, yung mga kasing age natin, hindi makakalimutan si Aljon Mariano.
the fact that 1 decade after he's still being used as a meme for people throwing games. But yeah, I think this final deserves an S tier just because of all of the factors if you consider everything.
Just an additional note, how intense this series was. In Game 3, nearly everyone was cramping. Jaron Teng and Jason Perkins were both suffering from cramps in the fourth quarter and in overtime. I think Kevin Ferrer also was yung suffering from cramps. They were playing very short rotations. We did see some of Matt Salem, but he didn't play that much. But yeah, this was an all out finals classic, a UAAP classic. Just some notes because I was able to watch because they're all available. These 3 games. Shout out to the Take Aim channel. I think you uploaded games 2 and 3, so shout out to you. Kareem Abdul was a bucket. Ang galing ni Kareem Abdul. I think before Ben Mbala, I think you can make a legit argument that he was the GOAT of FSAs. Si Kareem Abdul. Ang galing niya. He had mid-range shots. He had that off the glass from either post. He was so quick. I mean, he was a bit undersized for a center, to be honest. I mean,
Definitely undersized.
Si Van Opstal and Norbert Torres were towering over him, and I think they led to a Game 2 win over UST because both Torres and Van Opstal had double-doubles and just dominated the paint. But Kareem Abdul, he had a 20 and 10 or 20-15 in this Game 3. He was so dominant. Jeric Teng, I have to say, is a bucket. Because I haven't seen him play for such a long time. I mean, he didn't last long in the PBA. I don't watch the MPBL.
Di ba yung mga ganun-ganun pa yun? Gumaganon-ganon pa yun.
Jeric Teng was a bucket. I mean, he was on all 3 levels. He could score.
Yeah. And all the more reason why it makes you wonder, but hindi pinasa ni Aljon Mariano kay Jeric Teng.
Also, another guy that I had a different opinion on back then, maybe because I did not like LaSalle. But Alman Vosotros was also a bucket. I love this guy.
I love Vosotros, even way back.
Such
Not
a crafty
afraid to
scorer. Shoot. Yeah, he's not afraid. He's a deadly shooter. I think that's the most highlighted part of his game. Though he was a deadly shooter. He had unlimited range. But he also was a very crafty scorer. He was not the quickest guard. He was not tall. He was not big. He couldn't shoot over people. Pero ang galing ng mga shot fakes niya. His handles were so tight. Ang galing. His footwork was incredible. I mean, he could score in the paint just by his pivots, his jab steps, hindi pa nga uso yung Euro step. He didn't have that, but his footwork to score in the paint and to score from mid-range, ang galing. I have a newfound appreciation for Almon Vosotros.
Gotta respect the 3x3 champ. 3x3 MVP. I love this. Speaking of Almon Vosotros, this is one of my favorite LaSalle teams, actually. You have Vosotros, you have Perkins, the hefty lefty. I think I picked him when we drafted our LaSalle lineups. Arnold Van Opstal, just like this huge guy na nung high school pa lang tayo, parang, uy, gilas ata to, pang gilas to, laki-laki, ganyan.
Sabi, OnlyFans na lang nag-end up.
Well, he decided to take a different career, pero respect to AVO for doing that. But I loved him when he was in LaSalle. There are other guys here. L.A. Revilla, one of my favorite LaSalle guys, also was a big part of this lineup. I think had a crucial rebound. So when I was watching this game, I was so frustrated with UST, but at the same time, I'm not mad at LaSalle winning this championship because I like that team.
Yeah, definitely. Just some things to add. I can't believe how ugly basketball was back then. I can't believe they were playing so many non-shooters on the floor. They were not guarding Jaron Teng at all on the perimeter because he did not respect his shot. John Sheriff, they were not even trying to guard him at all. I can't believe that these guys were able to play big minutes in a finals series, just playing just non-shooters. But anyway, let's move on. We've spent 15 minutes of season 76. Let's go to season 77. NU winning its first championship in 60 years against the FEU Tamaraos, also in 3 games. I think Alfred Aroga was the MVP, the finals MVP of this series. I'm gonna go first to Maui.
Ako muna.
Sige, Sasami, go ahead. Where would you rank this?
I want to start because, to be honest, I don't have much to say here. I rank this as one of my lowest finals sa tier list ko. This would have been a D because I was so frustrated with how badly Ateneo lost the Final Four that I did not even watch this finals. The only finals probably dito sa list that I did not watch live. I decided to put it C kasi tiningnan ko din yung mga stats and it was, I think, like a close game nung first 2 games, but NU blew out FEU nung game 2, game 3. I love that NU finally won the championship. Ito yung, diba, they started becoming relevant with Bobby Ray Parks. Unfortunately, they did not win with Bobby Ray, which sort of makes this even more worth it or interesting yung championship na to, na you would think they would not win after losing Bobby Ray, but they made it. They were a 4th seed. They upset Ateneo. So frustrating. So, sakit nun. That's why
Alfred Aroga Black,
as a form of protest, I did not watch this finals. But kudos to NU. Won their first championship in a long time. It's a C for me. Dahil nainis ako sa Final Four na to.
Maui.
Ako, different take kay Sam. I would rate this as an A-tier finals. A or B, B-tier. B-tier finals for me. And the main reason is because grabe yung draw. Diba? If you look at UAAP history, it actually had the record of most people watching live no game 3. Even game 2 was 24,000. Wow. Game 3 was 25,000. I think if you're the UAAP, this is the type of case study you have to look at right now when we talk about parity.
Good point. Yeah.
Diba? When you talk about parity, diba? Kasi they want the top teams to to continue to load up. But when you look at a finals like this, NU versus FEU, and 25,000 fans come, 24,000 fans come to watch out the game live. I think that talks about how important it is to maintain parity in the league, diba? These are not big names. These are not schools who are heavily funded. This was probably the start pa lang of NU getting some funding. This was the year that nobody expected them to become champions. Diba? They were the fourth seed. They lost.
No one, Maui,
No
expected
one.
them to.
They just
No
lost
one.
Bobby Ray.
Oh, they just lost Bobby Ray Parks, who was, I think, a two-time MVP at that point. That was he was supposed to play, I think, his fourth or fifth season for NU. And the reason why I like this finals, is because ang ganda ng head-to-head matchup if you look at both teams. Maybe coming into the season, you didn't know a lot of people from NU, but actually, if you look at the starting lineup of NU that season, Troy Rosario, Pau Abelosa, even yung point guard, si Jello Alulino, these people
Alulino,
made,
yeah.
diba, these
Cobontin.
people made the pros. Si Cobontin has been playing in the pro leagues, and I think this season was when he was able to convince people to make it the pros. Si Troy Rosario has been a mainstay of the Gilas teams. So yeah, I would say that maybe I could have ranked this an A or S tier had it not been for blowout games in games 2 and 3. But when you talk about competitiveness of the season, when you talk about the matchups, the teams, I think I would rank this as a B tier. Yeah.
I'm actually in agreement with Maui. I had this as a B tier. B because it went 3 games. I mean, you have to give them props. They did go 3 games. The games were not pretty good. They were ugly. They were low scoring. This NU team won on defense. They were not offensive juggernaut, but they were a very good defensive team. I mean, anytime that Pau Havilona was being touted as the key for stopper, I think you know your identity as a team. Uh, I had this a B tier. Again, it went to 3 games. And just the clout and the history around it. This was NU's first title in 60 years. 60! What? 60 years since they last won a title. And they were the fourth seed. And they had just lost their superstar in Bobby Ray Parks. Diba yung sabi ko sa inyo, Maui, no one expected NU to even contend for the championship. Heck, to even make it to the final four in the finals, what? No one expected this NU team. But ang dami ng gulat. And that's a big kudos to Coach Eric Altamirano for forming that terrible defense. I mean, not terrible, that formidable defense of theirs. And gotta shout out si Alfred Aroga. He was dominant in this series. Multiple double-doubles. I think average around 20 and 15. Just outplayed who's his counterpart. I think si Hargrove. If I'm not mistaken, si Anthony Hargrove was his counterpart in FEU, but completely outplayed the FEU front line. This was before Prince Orizo came, who was later on. You will see him. We will talk about him, but yeah, ako I give this a B tier just for the the atmosphere surrounding it. Again, sabi nga ni Maui, so many people watch this game. If there's ever a case study for how you want your league to look, how we want your UAP to look, let's look at this season. I think around 5, 6 out of the 8 teams had winning records. That's freaking crazy. 6 out of the 8 teams had winning records in this season. There are multiple seasons. I think UE had a 9-5 record and was the 5th seed. 9-5. In any other season, you would make the Final Four with that record. So, I give this a B. And since Maui and I are both B, I think we have to put this as a B tier. But the games were not fun. I do remember watching Game 3 and zoning off when it came to the fourth quarter because NU was pretty much on top and had this in the bag by around the 5-minute mark already of the fourth quarter. It was not competitive at all. Game 1, I think, was the closest one. If I remember, it was less than double digits of a margin. But it wasn't the same caliber of games, excitement as you had with DLSU versus UST. So, ako B tier. I think we're both in agreement with Maui. Anything to add, boys?
Wala naman. Let's just do a quick recap. So, what we have so far, UAP 76 S tier, UAP 77 B tier. Okay,
Okay.
moving on.
Moving on to season 78. The FEU Tamaraws, after losing in the finals to NU in season 77, finally got their title against, once again, the UST Growling Tigers, which was
Battle
not
of
coached.
the second placers.
Yep. Which was not coached by Coach Pido Horencio. I think it was Bong de la Cruz. I think si Coach Pido was already coaching Northport at that time. Yes, Sammy. It was not Coach Pido who
Oo
led them
nga,
to.
no? Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
I think these were the last seasons of Kevin Ferrer and Karim Abdul. I think also of si Ed Dakiwag, one of my favorite UST players. Si Easy Ed Dakiwag. But yeah, I think, no, sige, I'll let Maui start. Ano yung opinion mo, Maui? FEU versus UST, FEU winning the title. Also in 3 games.
Yeah, actually maganda yung matchups. When you look at the matchups, both teams were very top to bottom. Okay sila in terms of depth, but I think this finals is a C tier for me just because it's not memorable in any way. Diba? I think that's one of the things that I look at when I look at UAP finals. It has to be something that you remember for a long time. I don't remember this finals a lot. Maybe it has to do with similar to Sammy na masakit. If you remember during the Final Four, this was FEU against Ateneo, and this was when Mac Bello, I think, hit yung game-winning layup niya after an Adrian Wong turnover. And I think that was one of the reasons why this was not a memorable finals. But even if you look at yung final scores of all the 3 games, all 3 games were basically decided before the final minutes. That was how it was decided, and I think it was really FEU's title to lose. NU was only a 4th seed after winning the championship. They were probably the favorites, and they ended up as the champions. I think this cemented Mac Bello's legacy in the UAAP. But if you look at the finals, there's no specific memorable moment. Diba? Even if you look at yung other finals, you could probably pinpoint a specific moment in the finals that you would remember. So that's one of my main considerations why I think this finals is a C tier. Although I like yung lineups of both teams kasi if you look at yung sila Dakiwag, sila Mike Tolomia, si RR Pogoy, these people, I think this finals made their careers and catapulted them to the pros.
Sammy, your opinion. Are you with Maui? C tier? Really?
Ikaw muna, Gab. Ikaw muna.
Okay. I have a totally different opinion. I had this as an A tier. And I completely, unlike Maui, I completely remember this finals because Game 3 was played on a Wednesday. And I was in med school. And for those who were in the
Grabe,
ASMPH
med school
campus,
ka pa lang nun.
there, there we had lectures in the 5th floor. And since we were a lot of students, the internet was not that fast. So I had to go down, cut class, go to the library, and use the computers just to watch this game. I do remember watching this
Yan
game
ang
because
hardcore fan ng UAAP. Hindi Ateneo ang
Nag-cut pa,
finals, ha?
pero kahit hindi Ateneo, oo nga eh.
yeah, I mean, di ba, for those who say we're biased, we watch kahit hindi Ateneo naglalaro sa finals. I do. I remember this because I really went down and watched FEU versus UST, and I do remember Game 3. I do remember Game 3 because FEU was up the entire game. UST made a run. I think it was 2 Marvin Lee threes. I do remember the 2 Marvin Lee yung 3-point shots, and I do remember si Ed Dakiwag bringing them back, giving them a 6-point lead when I think 3 or 2 minutes left to go in the game. Then we had clutch shots from Mac Bello and R.R. Pogoy and si Mike Tolome, essentially their main guns, bringing them back and pulling out this win. This was one heck of a game. And I do remember some other classmates. I was not the only one. I do remember some of my other classmates going down, cutting class, and watching with me in the library just to watch FEU versus UST. So I was not the only one. I do remember the series. All three games were classics, fire, unbelievable. Uh, yung sabi nga ni Maui, if you look at the lineups, yung and the matchups in this series,
Ang
you would
ganda.
see,
Ang ganda
ang
ng
ganda,
matchups
ang
dito.
ganda, and it really showed in the games. There were no blowouts. Everything was close. Everything was close down to the wire, especially game 3. It did not have the overtime feel and the other storylines surrounding it. As Maui said, it wasn't as memorable, no, if you're not watching it intently, unlike the season 76. But I do have this as an A tier. I did watch all 3 games. These were intense. This was the coming out party of Ed Dakiwag. I think he was one of the main guns of UST. And heartbreak for UST. I think this was their pangilong finals nila. They went to the finals against Ateneo, LaSalle, and now against FEU, and they lost all 3. So, sobrang heartbreak. I know UST fans don't want to remember all the finals that they lost, but they did give us one heck of a series. So I have this as an A tier. And just to give more praise to Mac Bello, we didn't mention in season 77, he did beat LaSalle on a corner 3 buzzer beater also.
Game winner. Yeah.
Yeah.
77 ba yun?
77 yun.
Final Four.
Yeah.
Tama. Kaya sila
Mr.
okay,
Clutch,
kaya sila nag-finals.
si Mac
Yeah.
Bello. Madami
So,
siyang
so
clips.
Maui, hindi lang Ateneo yung sinaktan ni Mac Bello. Mga Lasalista rin.
on that note, Gab, I put this as a B tier. I'm more leaning towards Maui na parang I remember it was a close game pero I vaguely remember the matches, what happened. But I put it as a B tier because I love the players dun sa matchup and you guys talked about it. I think for me, Mac Bello, one of my favorite FEU players. If not probably my favorite FEU player of all time. I'm still sad to think na knowing na he didn't have a good PBA career or professional career. I medyo naging injury prone siya, but I really loved him sa FEU. Masakit na tinalo tayo ni Mac Bello sa Final Four dito, pero I just have to give him my respect. Kudos to Mac Bello for carrying this team for FEU. Other guys here, sina Roger Pogoy, I think the last year of Tolomia, another guy that I love from FEU. I like this FEU team. Sa UST side naman, Louis Vigil was there, one of their stars then.
Oh, yeah.
He also had like a good professional career after. I think this is one of the years where he kind of showed to everyone na he can go pro, he can be a star. I'm just happy wala si Arjon Mariano in this lineup. Feel ko sayang lang na wala na rin si Jeric Teng, 'di ba? So I feel like nakulang pa sila. I think si Subido was here but was injured or parang bangko pa. So this was an interesting matchup for me. 2 very deep lineups. Ed Dakiwag was there. It's good for FEU finally after losing the previous season. They get to win. I think this was also the first championship of Coach Nash Rosella. So cemented Coach Nash as one of the best coaches of FEU. Happy for FEU. This was a good win. I'd put this as a B tier. So I think you had it as an A. Maui had it as a C. I had it as a B. So average. Let's put it as a B.
I think B is, sige, pwede na B. I can accept B. hindi ko matanggap yung C, Maui. Grabe ka naman. Exciting naman tong finals na to. I went out of my way to watch this.
Hindi, sabi ko, No, kasi in my defense, I have to say in my
Personal
defense,
personal kay Maui. Parang
no, before we reveal kasi our whole list, baka lahat ng list ko kasi nasa upper echelon ng tiering if I didn't bring down some of them.
Makes sense. Okay, moving
Makes
on.
sense. Moving on to season, I don't know about 79? Yeah, season 79. The De La Salle Green Archers captured the title once again over their arch rivals, the Ateneo Blue Eagles, in 2 games. It was a sweep. First year of Ben Mbala in the green and white. Finals MVP was Jeron Teng. This was the Ateneo team in the first season of Coach Tab Baldwin, the Ateneo team that lost 7 highly touted recruits and majority of their rotation. But we're in the finals. I will go first. I have this as a C tier. C tier. This was a finals where you would say na Ateneo was punching above their weight class. They were not in the same level as the De La Salle Green Archers. There was no way. La Salle was just full of vets. They had the 5th year of Jeron Teng. And the 5th, nung second season pa lang ni Jeron Teng, medyo unstoppable na siya. So 5th season na niya, not even 30 yung 30 Ravenna was still thin back then, and he could not stop Jeron Teng. Ben Mbala was an unstoppable force. Their entire roster, si Jason Perkins, yung pound for pound, it wasn't even close for the Blue Eagles. Now, I give it a C and not a D.
Pound.
Hindi, wala. Sam, wala talaga. As in, when I rewatched this final series, in fairness, Ateneo kept the 2 games close. I think game 1 ended on a Jeron Teng floater to seal the deal. So it was close. Game 2, I think, same thing. Ateneo was in striking distance, but Jeron Teng was just too good. This was the crowning moment of Jeron Teng as a King Archer, his second title. I give it a C because at least the 2 games were entertaining. And Ateneo kept it close, but you could clearly see na Ateneo was not ready yet. They were not supposed to be here in the first place. I think everyone can agree with that. They were not even supposed to be in this position to be a top 2 seed and even make the finals. This was, by all accounts, a miracle season from Coach Tab Baldwin. And one of the reasons why I still hold Coach Tab as a high regard, because he was able to bring this Ateneo team to the finals despite losing.
7.
I think we have
7 key players, including CJ Perez and Arvin Tolentino.
Yep. Hubert Cani, Jerry Pingoy, ang daming nawala from this Blue Eagles team, and they were still able.
Si Kong!
Si Kong! Jana Pasible. Shout out to you. but yeah, ako C tier. I'm wondering what you guys think. Let's go to Maui.
Yeah, I would say that this is a B tier finals for me. We know that La Salle was probably the favorite to win. They ended the season at 13-1 with the 1 loss going from Ateneo. I think nung 13th season nila. This was La Salle's biggest chance to sweep a season.
Mm-hmm.
I think if they won that game against Ateneo, yung 13th game nila of the season, they would have probably swept the season. And that's warranted because they had, without a doubt, maybe miles and miles away the best FSA from that season. Diba? That's why we talk about Ben Mbala as one of the best FSAs in UAAP history, not just this season. They had Jeron Teng. They had a young Richie Rivero who was already impactful. Oh, yeah. They had Aljun Melesio. And Ateneo just lost 7 key players. But I think the main reason why I had to rank this as a B tier for me is just because it's an Ateneo La Salle Finals. Maybe if this got to a game 3, it would have been easier to justify why we could rank them at a higher tier. If I think si Matt Nieto turned the ball over, and that led to the Jeron Teng game-winning shot in game 1, if I remember correctly. I was sitting behind the basket. I was so excited because it was a tied ball game and Ateneo had a chance to win. But unfortunately, LaSalle was able to close out the game of a Jerome Teng game-winning shot. I think this cemented Teng's place in UAAP history. And it's one of the main reasons why he won Finals MVP over Ben Mbala. So yeah, I would probably rate this as a B or C tier. So I would agree with Gab na close to that range. You cannot rate it higher. It's only a 2-game finals.
The other thing, Ben Mbala has forever traumatized me with his dunk from
Oh,
game 1. Remember that? Was that game 1 or game 2 where Thomas thought it?
earth-shattering.
Yeah, he threw it so high, but Ben Mbala went up so high, one-handed it in, and that it was memorable, but it's also traumatizing because I was there, I saw it live, and I was like, "What the hell is this guy? What the hell is Ben Mbala? What? Why is he here?" Ben Mbala, man, what a legend, Sammy.
Um, I can't be mad at the C tier. I initially ranked this as a C tier, but I pushed it up to B. Just because I think I did not expect Ateneo to make it this far. I did not expect Ateneo to get the second rank after losing 7 players. It just looked like a very different Ateneo team from the ISO ball that we are seeing from Coach Bo Perasol the past few seasons. So that got me really excited watching this Ateneo team trying to um, get a game in the finals against Ben Mbala and Jeron Teng. Uh, and di naman ako biased dahil Atenista ako because I also like this game kahit na 2 games lang to because this was the first finals of Ben Mbala and this was the Ben Mbala, actually it was the Ben Mbala and Jeron Teng exhibition. Para sa akin, pang-highlight dunks lang nila and plays because tama ka Gab, minamamaw na nila yung buong Ateneo team. Ateneo is just not prepared for this veteran, super stacked LaSalle team. Good call dun sa Richie Rivero Maui, his first championship rookie year. So, this was a good. I mean, if I'm trying to look at it from the perspective of a LaSalle fan or also a non-Ateneo fan, I would love this if I were a LaSalle fan. So I'm kind of bumping it up to B tier just for that. But I'm not mad if C siya, to be honest.
Yeah, some additional notes. I think yung Ben Mbala dunk, if I'm not mistaken, I just watched a clip. The game was a blowout, so I think that was the first game nung first round.
The first round. Okay, my bad.
So that's how far Ateneo came, I think, nung season, di ba? I think they ended the first round not with a very good record and they started to ramp up nung second round and they were the only team to actually beat LaSalle during this season. That's how formidable this team was. I think if this is one of the big what ifs of Ateneo. If they won game 1 of that finals, that would have meant that they've beaten LaSalle twice in back-to-back games, second round and the first game of the finals. It could have been a different story, maybe yung finals. Could have been game 3, diba? So it probably is one of the big what ifs of Tab Baldwin's And if Ateneo did a miracle of closing out this finals, talagang wala nang without question, I think si Tab Baldwin ang GOAT ng UAAP coaches.
Was this the finals where Isaac Go cried on Coach Tab's shoulders? I think this was, diba? Yeah.
Ito ba or the following year?
No. He missed the gimme. I think in game 2 or game 1, one of those, he missed that gimme of a shot near the basket. And he went to Coach Tab, I think, right when he was subbed out, and then he cried on Coach Tab's shoulders.
Tama,
I think this was a series, if I remember.
Alam mo yung S tier actually from this season is yung matchup ng Ateneo and FEU.
Actually, yeah, I was gonna say. Actually, back-to-back seasons, Maui. Season 79, season 80.
And both, 80, yeah.
Both Final Four matchups against FEU were incredible. Diba?
Si Coach Olsen na to. Coach Olsen na.
Yung pambawi sa lahat ng ginawa ni Macbelo sa atin yun, pare.
Isaac Go hitting also a crazy 3-point shot, and I think
Wait,
Isaac Go
yung,
hitting a shot
yung shot, y-
pahulog na,
yung
di
shot
ba?
ba na
Parang,
yun ni Isaac ko is this season or sa 80 pa?
I think this season. Yung paupo ata yung the following season kasi I think that went to overtime. Or I'm not sure anymore. But
We'll have
very
to go
classic
back.
games.
Oh.
We'll have to
Yeah,
go
we'll
back.
have to go
Classic
back. We have
games.
to go back.
So anyway, I think we have this as a B tier. So
Mm-hmm.
I
Recap.
don't think you guys will put this over the season 78, which went to game 3. So I think B but low B.
Low
Tama
B.
Lagay
ba?
mo na
Low
sa
B.
C. Lagay mo na
Sige,
sa
sige.
C.
C na daw si Maui. C na daw si
Okay,
Lagay
Maui.
mo na
okay,
sa
fine,
C.
fine. Lagay mo
Kasi
natin
I
sa
think
C.
there has to be a premium, di ba, for a final series reaching 3 games.
Tama. Actually, I have to agree. Yung which is why I put it to C there. Okay, let's move on. Season 80. The Ateneo Blue Eagles exact their revenge.
The
Against
rematch.
the rematch with the Ben Mbala and the DLSU Green Archers. This was weird. The finals MVP, I think, was Thirdy Ravenna. Went to 3 games. This was the first of 3 championships of Forta, Baldwin, and Ateneo Blue Eagles. This, unahan ko na kayo again. I had this as S tier. Call me
S tier,
biased,
S
whatever. I don't
S tier
care. This is S tier. This, every single game lives in my head. And I didn't even watch all games live. I remember I was in the hospital. I was watching game 2. I was in the hospital. I took care of all my work. And I went to watch this game on my laptop. Watch game 2, we lost. But this is freaking S tier. You had it all. We talk about the LaSalle UST having it all. Ateneo LaSalle season 80 had it all. And this was weirdly the finals wherein the number 1 seed, I would say, was the underdog. I mean, they were not the defending, Ateneo was not the defending champions. LaSalle had the best player in the league in Ben Mbala, the most unstoppable force. LaSalle beat Ateneo. Remember, Ateneo was looking for a sweep. They
Sweet
were
din. Grabe.
Yeah.
Back-to-back seasons, ganun kwento. Baliktad naman.
13-0, and LaSalle beat them in the last game of the elimination round to prevent the sweep. You had also the Ateneo FEU Final Four, which was a classic Final Four. And then here in the finals, man, I could not. The shots that both teams were hitting, Ike's dunks, Ben Mbala's dominance, the shots by Andre Caracot, si Aljon Melesio, everything. The game 2 by Richie Rivero, this had it all. So I'm putting this up to S tier. I think, given the history, given the matchups, given the storyline that they were facing each other for the second time, and wow, ako, whenever I think of season 80, it brings a lot of joy and also a lot of excitement to my heart because I really love this series. This will be one of the series that I remember the most. And as an Ateneo fan, I might even put it on top of 2002. I know a lot of older pa. Si Maui, ayan o. Ibang usapan yan, Maui. Huwag mo pag-usapan 2002. Pero, sinasabi ko na sa'yo, I might even have this season 80 on top of season 65 as my favorite Ateneo championship. Okay, sila. So, kaya natin mag-usapan yan. But I had this on S tier. Maui, go ahead.
Whoa. 2002 is a miracle run for Ateneo. So I would forever. I think that's when I fell in love with basketball. That was one of the I was very young. I think that was when I was really falling in love with basketball. So you can never say that any championship is.
Saan natin mag-usapan yan, Maui? Saan natin mag-usapan yan?
Whoa.
Sige.
But I would have to agree. This is an S tier finals. This is the best championship from all of the 4 championships under Coach Tab Baldwin sa Ateneo. I think the build-up from the previous season, Ateneo surprising. Ateneo in year 2 of a rebuild, trying to sweep the season, and LaSalle ending those chances in the end of the second round. And lo and behold, FEU was for the second straight season, FEU was very this close to ending Ateneo's chances to get that championship. Just imagine if FEU was able to beat Ateneo during that Final Four run. We probably won't have Coach Tab as one of the top coaches of all time. Baka nagpalit pa ng coach ang Ateneo, ganun kasira ulo ang Ateneo to be honest. But yeah, despite losing Zeronteng, I think without a doubt, Lasal was the favorite to win the championship. I think Benembala was averaging, I think, 27 and 14. You don't see that even in the FSAs right now in the UAAP. I think he was averaging close to that for the regular season. I think he broke the record for statistical points during the regular season. And Lasal had everything. They had the bench. They had some up and coming players in Melesio, in Karakot, and in Rivero. I think they were the favorites for this finals. This was not still finals 30. Diba? For Ateneo. This was only
Next season
30
yun.
starting.
Next season yun.
This was only 30 not being a superstar but maybe a star player for Ateneo. This was Ateneo still having Ike against Embala, but lo and behold, Ateneo was able to win of that Isaac Go shot. I think that shot is one of the main reasons why Isaac Go is one of the most overrated players of Ateneo history. Diba? Kasi people compare everyone.
How
people
dare
compare,
you? How
people
dare
compare,
you call him overrated?
People compare everyone to Isaac Go, but you can't question Isaac Go's clutch gene. I think from the past 2 seasons, diba, that we discussed. But this was that play that cemented his place in Ateneo history. All three games, fought very hard, so much emotion. I think without a doubt, what the best championship in Tab Baldwin's era and an S tier for me.
Sammy.
I agree 100%. S tier for me. I tried to look at it from an outsider's perspective kasi syempre I was also cheering for Ateneo. Pero iba din talaga yung kwento nito eh. I think nobody expected Ateneo to beat this Lasal team with Ben Embala. Ben Embala just looked so dominant and unstoppable. We had Chibueze Ike. I think after they won the championship, Chibueze Ike just broke down and started wailing, started crying in the middle of the court.
He played
all the
his
emotions.
ass off.
He
In
played
fairness to
his
Ike.
heart out. People did not like him the past few years. He had butterfingers, hindi siya consistent under the basket. But this was his last year, the only year he was like really solid and really good. People loved him after this. I think it was an unexpected run. I still can't imagine how we beat Ben Embala with Chibueze Ike. I just had to do a quick Google Maui because this is also one of the reasons why S tier to para sa akin. That Isaac Go game tying 3 to send the game to overtime was this season. I remember it because
Against FEU.
against
Yeah.
FEU. Kasi
Yung
Gab,
pala yung pa-OT.
oo, yun yung pa-OT. Kasi Gab, we've watched the first game. We watched the first game together. Talo tayo, tambak.
Oh yeah,
Kaya
we did.
hindi na ako nanood nung second game.
Oh yeah, we did.
Which I regretted. I had the chance to watch it but I regretted it kasi tinambakan tayo nung first game. So that was very
And then on
memorable.
overtime was when he made the shot while sitting down.
While sitting down. Yes. So
Same game pala yun. That's
the
crazy.
fact that yun nga, Maui, the fact that happened in the same game, the fact that we almost did not make it to the finals this season, and then we beat LaSalle. This was for me the best miracle team for me sa Ateneo compared to, mahirap i-compare against the LaSalle one, but compared to the third championship dun sa 5-peat, compared to maybe season 85, sabihin nyo miracle run, then we'll talk more about that soon. this was the best miracle run for Ateneo for me. And just because of that, I have to put it in S tier.
All right. I think we're all in agreement. This will be an S tier. So, Lasal UST oh, go Maui.
Tsaka one final thought, naalala ko lang, when you talk about drama and stuff, I think this was the season that Lasal hired security to be with Ben Embala 24/7.
Wait,
Kasi may
what?
allegations. Yes!
May ganito?
May ganyan na drama. This was that season, the finals against Ateneo. Because they didn't think Embala was performing up to par in the finals.
Oh.
Oh.
I did not. I think it was just Ateneo's defense, but I don't know, Lasalians. You could point to other external factors. I just think it was Ateneo's defense and Chibuwesa Ike. But yeah, so we have this as our second S tier. Let's now move on to season 81. Ateneo's second championship of his three-peat, this time facing a revitalized UP Fighting Maroons. They won their second title over UP. This was the birth of Finals 30. And I think that tells you all you need to know because unahan ko na kayo, I have this on a D. Because this was not even close. This finals was not even close. Wala. Outclassed ang UP. Sad to say, this was their first time in the finals in such a long time. They had the MVP in Bright Acueti. They had all the momentum you coming off the Paul Desiderio shot in the Final Four. But I'm sorry, this was a landslide victory for the Blue Eagles. If you look back, both games, I think game one ended up as a single-digit loss, but throughout the game they were down with double digits. Game two was a mauling. 30 Ravenna, 38 points. Yeah, he made that sign, Maui. It was not even close. Siguro the only drama from the series I do remember is si Bright getting injured in game one, and
Yeah, he
then
got hurt.
everyone was blaming Anj. He had nothing to do with the injury. He was just there in the same play. To be fair, if you watch the replay, but yeah, and then yung game two, we had all this yung pre-game drama about Bright's knee brace that it per the UAP rules it wasn't allowed. So Coach Tab was protesting that because he wasn't allowed to wear a knee brace of that sort. So I think that was the only drama from the series. But the games, it was a mauling. 30 was awesome. 30 had a near triple double in game one. He had 38 points in game two. He averaged 29 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists, and 3 blocks for the series. Like, what? No one on UP had an answer for 30 Ravenna. They tried Javi Gomez de Leano. They tried si Morel. I think he was there. They tried si Tungkab. They tried everyone. They could not stop Finals 30. And I put this at D tier. I couldn't put this at as the same level of season 79 because at least those two games of the sweep were close. These two were not close, not even remotely close. It was a coaching landslide. I do have to say that I watched both these games live, and I really thought Coach Bo was just outclassed in all aspects. Coach Tab had an answer to everything that Coach Bo put out there offensively and defensively. I don't know if you thought the same. Sammy, yung let's go to you, given you're the
Yeah,
UP
I'll go next.
alumnus.
I'll go next. I can't argue with you on that. I would put this as a D tier. If titingnan ko lang yung games and how like lopsided it was, I would also put this as a D tier. But I just had to push it up a bit to see just because of yung history din. This was the first time that UP made it to the finals, to the final four actually, to the final four and the finals in how many years? In a billion years. So it was the start of yung UP crowd or yung UP fan base. Everyone was going crazy sa mga among my UP friends. I remember watching this I think we had a meeting in Ateneo. And then on the way back to the office in BGC, I was watching it on my phone with a friend from Ateneo. So this was a crazy parang time to be a UP fan because for the longest time they were the joke of the UAAP, and I don't think they were supposed to make it to the finals, to be honest. I think they were the underdogs. I really expected Adamson to make it here, and I feel like if Adamson made it here, it would have been an interesting finals kasi I remember Ateneo lost to Adamson sa
They did.
nung first game of the season. I think the very first game of the season.
That was the
Tama
Franz
ba?
Pumaren Adamson teams, di ba?
Yeah. Sean Manganti, Jeric Ahanmin, may isa pa,
Pingoy.
puro wings. Nandun din si Pingoy. And Lastimosa. This was the coming out of Jerome Lastimosa. So, I feel like UP just surprised Adamson. Hindi nga ako sure if it were Adamson versus Ateneo, magcha-champion ba Ateneo? Because Adamson seemed like kaya nila yung Ateneo at this point. So for me, the fact na UP had the miracle run, it was exciting for UP fans, the atmosphere, the first battle of Katipunan in the finals. I just would give it a bonus and push it up sa C. But just the games, kung games ang pag-uusapan, definitely a D. I agree with you on that, Gab.
Yeah, I would agree. Probably, I rank this as a C tier, but we can bump it down to a D tier. And I think this is Ateneo's easiest championship dun sa 4 championships in Coach Tab's era. Just outmatch in terms of players, in terms of coaching. Wala pa si Paras, wala pa si Rivero here in UP, if you remember it correctly. So it was really the Gomez Ciliamo brothers, it was Paul Desiderio, and I'm not sure si June Manzo ba. June Manzo ba was part of this team.
Yeah,
But
June Manzo.
maybe June Manzo's first year in the UAAP. So I don't think there were any arguments. If you're an Ateneo fan, this was when you really felt yung start ng dominance ng Ateneo lineup. I think they gave a sign. This was the start of that 39-game win streak. Yung season na to. I think the second round, they won the last 8 games. I think from the regular season, they won the last 8 games. The Final Four, they also won that game. And then in the finals, they swept it. This was the start of that 39 or 38 game win streak for Ateneo. And for that reason alone, being so lopsided, being so one-sided, I think it has to be a D tier.
All right.
Oy.
So it's a D. So to recap on S tier, we have season 76 and season 80. We have no A tiers yet, but we'll get to that maybe. B tier, we have season 77 and season 78. And C tier, we have season 79. And D tier, we have season 81. Last of the pre-pandemic UAAP season, season 82. Ateneo, once again, winning their 3rd straight title, this time over the 4th. I think they were the 4th seed. Yeah, tama diba? They were the 4th seed. The 4th seeded UST Growling Tigers, led by Coach Alden Ayo, who had faced Coach Tab Baldwin back when he was still in LaSalle. This was, again, finals 30. But I do have to give a shout out to SJ Belangel because he won game 2 for Ateneo. And I think this was the
5 threes.
5 threes.
I think in game 2.
3 of them were clutch threes. I think when UST cut the lead to 2, SJU made a 3. When USTU cut the lead to 1, SJU made a 3. Then when finally yung Ateneo was pulling away, SJ made another 3 to seal the deal. This was the coming out party, I think, for SJ Belangel. Right after his rookie season, the previous year, where he looked like a crazy, nervous kid, unable to bring the ball up and turning the ball over at will.
Kaya nanalo yung Adamson nung first game of the season. Nung pumasok si
Yes.
SJ, remember?
Tama ka. Daming turnovers nun. Nakamask pa siya nun. If I'm not mistaken, nakamask siya. Black mask. Mamba mask.
Yep. This finals was exciting because it was Coach Tab and Coach Alden Ayo. Again, it was Mark part three of Coach Tab versus Coach Alden Ayo. It was the underdog, the severely underdog UST Growling Tigers, with Renz Abando, Mark Nonoy, CJ Cancino, that group, and the MVP Solomon Chabio. They almost beat Ateneo in the regular season, in the elimination round. I was there. Kinabahan ako. I thought
10 a.m. game!
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
game.
game yun. I remember that game. Ang
10
daming
a.m. game yun?
alley-oops. Ang daming alley-oops ng UST noon na dunk. I think Chabio and Abando had one each.
Abando,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Abando posterized 30. If you guys remember, that was it. And 30 gave him his shoes right after. Like, he was so impressed that he gave him his shoes right after, out of respect for Renz Abando. This finals is a bit closer, but still UST was punching above its weight class. I would give it a C tier. Finals 30 was on show again. He was freaking dominant. Ange Kwame was dominant. But at least UST kept games 1 and 2 close. And it took 5 threes from SJ Belangel to seal the deal. I don't know about the two of you. Sammy, let's go to you. What are your thoughts on this final series?
Okay, so sabi mo C, no? Tama?
Yeah, C.
Okay, I had this as a B. I know it's a sweep, pero it seemed a lot closer to me. Especially if I compared it dun sa Ateneo versus UP. Dun sa Ateneo versus UP, kung Atenista ka, hindi ka kakabahan eh. The whole series, hindi ka kinabahan. Dito, Ateneo versus UST, kahit sweep siya, kinabahan ako for Ateneo. Like, there were moments, I really thought
same feeling,
UST
Sam.
was...
Same feeling.
I really thought UST was gonna like take a game away from Ateneo. And this was the season that Ateneo swept. So, for me, if they lost their first game in the finals, medyo delix yun eh. It's like Ateneo doesn't know how to bounce back from a loss because they never lost the entire season. So, there are moments na kinabahan ako. I think it just so happened na every time UST had a run, Ateneo had an answer. But this was very exciting for me. Way more exciting versus Ateneo versus UP. Ang ganda ng redemption story ng UST. This was the first time they made it to like the finals since we talked about them. Another team that I did not expect to make the finals, fourth seed sila dito. Bumalik yung Go Uste crowd, which was crazy for me.
Went to 3 elimination games, Sam. Diba? Step ladder yan eh.
Kasi step ladder to. Tama ka. So, they had to upset like 2 teams. So, they were... And Ateneo was just there waiting, diba? So, they were on a roll. They were on a winning streak. So, that was also a factor. And you mentioned round 3 of Tab and Alden. Pero, as a fan, I was also excited. Like, it was so exciting to watch this UST team. Number 1, they're coached by Alden Ayo. So, mayhem, fast-paced, shoots a lot of threes. Number 2, they had crazy fast guys. You had Nonoy, you had Abando. Even si Chabio was a very agile big man at that time. And then you had CJ Cancino, who was like in his second year or something at that time. So, this was a very exciting... I think Subido then was his last year.
Subito
destroyed the hearts of the UP fans.
UP fans, yeah. So, this was kahit sweep, and I know like you guys would put a sweep below B. For me, this was an exciting sweep. Exciting loss for UST. So, for that, I give them a B.
Before you go, Maui, I do remember game 1. I was there in attendance, and Mark Nonoy was on fire.
Didn't he score
Mark Nonoy was 30
almost
something
30 points or something like that?
Something like
30
that.
points.
26.
26.
7 3-pointers yata, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was on
Jesus
fire. We couldn't do anything about Mark Nonoy. Anyway, Maui, go ahead. Where would you put this?
Kinabahan talaga ako.
Yeah, I probably put it as at a tier higher. So I would say C or B tier. I would say C tier. If you watch yung game 1, as Gab mentioned, that would have been a 30-point blowout by Ateneo. I think si 30 had 30 points by the third quarter. Had it not been for Mark Nonoy, hitting more than 5 3-pointers. So many 3-pointers. But 30 had all the answers, just was so hot, scored on all levels. I think ito yung peak. Pinaka-peak 30 Ravenna, yung finals na to. That game 1 game against UST, against a team that has a lot of wing players. Capable, Cancino, Abando. Diba? Wing players who are capable to match up with him, just really bullying himself into scoring 30 points in the finals. Ako, Sam, to be honest, hindi ako kinabahan in this finals. Ateneo swept the season.
Ay, yabang ng Atenistang to,
Ito
grabe.
talaga,
Hindi kasi yung reason ko dito is Ateneo was like on a 23 game win streak when the final started, if I'm not mistaken, or more.
That's true.
Even more, 'di ba? And 30 Ravenna was just unstoppable from tip off. I knew that 30 was gonna show out for the second season. We saw how 30 played nung that season ago nung finals. You saw that other gear. And I knew that 30 was going for another year nung finals. And it showed nung game 1. Maybe yung game 2, maybe it was a bit, maybe I was a bit nervous at times. But SJ Belangel had probably the game that really catapulted yung UAAP career. I think this game showed that he was a big-time player. This game showed that he will be ready to take over the reins. Kasi there was Tyler Teo, di ba? He was a third-string point guard, si SJ Belangel before this game. But that game too was probably one of my most memorable games. That was, I had a photo dun eh. Si 30 Ravenna nakaganon tumayo siya dun sa court. And then dun ako sa side niya. So that was very memorable for me just because of that. Thank you to Kyle Tan for giving me those floor seats. But yeah, I would say C tier pa rin. Kasi it's a sweep. Again, we want to put a premium on games that reach game 3. Despite maybe this being more contested than the previous season.
Gab. Okay, just a few other notes before we end this. And we'll end it because we're going way past an hour already. We'll do a part 2. We'll do a part 2 for the post-pandemic final series. Just a note, this was 16-0 sweep by Ateneo in the season, but no one made the mythical 5 from the Ateneo Eagles. No one made the mythical 5.
Chabio MVP.
Chabio was the MVP as a 4th seed.
Ito yung 15 out of 16 of the players yata made the pro this lineup. Ganun ka dominant.
Yep. And this is one of the seasons that I really point out why it's crazy to base everything on statistical points, the awards, because it's just freaking crazy. You have a team that hasn't lost the entire season and not one player is on the mythical 5 or even an MVP.
That's crazy.
I know their system. They share the ball. They blew out a ton of teams, so not everyone you got their points. But you can. I mean, if you had a panel to vote on these, they surely would not leave anyone from Ateneo out because they swept the season. So that's one of my memories from these from this season and from this finals. I do respect Solomon Chabio. I mean, he was good. But Ange Kwame was the MVP. He should have been. Or si 30. Someone from the 14-0 team should have gotten an MVP. It's crazy that we base it on purely statistical points. The other note, this is probably one of the most painful seasons to watch for UST fans because ito yung pinaka what if nila. What if the bubble didn't happen in UST?
What if the pandemic didn't happen?
Pandemic didn't happen. What if Coach Alden Ayo? What if CJ Cancino wanted more oily foods? Diba? baka may championship ang UST.
May championship. I would say that too. Yeah.
Diba? This was a team on their first iteration. They had made the finals. Season 84, if they had come back with that same team, sina Nonoy, Lorenz, Abando, sina Chabio, we could be talking about UST as a champion in season 84. This is the biggest what if. And
all three guys won a championship on another team.
Yep. Sa Letran, sa UP, and
Lasal
sa
and UP,
Lasal, di
yeah.
ba? So, biggest what if. And I think for the discussion, ang pinaka nasaktan ng UST fans because they were in the discussion 3 times and they lost all 3. So, anything to add, boys, before we end this episode?
I think heartbreaking din sa UP fans that they lost. But on our
Yeah.
next episode,
They were
binawi.
the number 2 seed, yeah.
Tsaka
Yeah,
this
but
was a season that they had the big four, di ba? Si Paras, Rivero, and the two Gomez de Llamos. They were a scary team.
With Bright.
with
Right,
Bright.
right.
Yeah, I always call that UP team as the biggest what if, or because they were so top heavy and talented, diba? But you watch them and papakamon ka ng noo because coaching was really a
Kanya-kanya.
problem. Yeah, naging sobrang predictable yung off. I'm sorry, we're going on a tangent here, but yeah, that UP team was for me the biggest what if because again they were so talented, they were so stacked, but they were just not coached very well. I'm sorry to Coach Bo, but going ISO for Kobe Paras over and over again in the fourth quarter is not a good recipe for winning. So that's just me. But anyway, that's a separate discussion. Let's recap it first, Sammy, before we go.
Okay, so quick recap. This is the pre-pandemic final series. For S tier, we do have Season 76, Season 80. Wala pa tayong A tier. Baka dito sa last four final series meron. B tier, Season 77, Season 78. C tier, Season 79. And what we recently discussed, Season 82. Last, D tier, Season 81, Ateneo versus UP. So that's it for this part. Let's do part 2. We'll talk about the post-pandemic final series next. Stay tuned for that. Let us know your thoughts. Comment down below. What's your ranking of the past 11 UAAP final series? Comment down below. We'd love to see your thoughts. LA Lakers, before we go, LA Lakers, please get a big man. That's it for today. Bye-bye. Ingat.